Hello, hello. Mirza says, "Are you ready?" I was born ready. I was born ready. um, okay. So, yes, I'm ready even though it's like 11 o'clock at night. I mean, back in the day, back in the day, but back in the day, I used to always stream at night. It's only been this year that I tried the morning streams. So, this feels like very at home, but I also used to have a very bad um I have a bad history with falling asleep and sleeping through streams. Mirza knows that because she used to have to wake me up. So, um, that's the only thing about having the late streams that kind of weighs on me throughout the day because I'm like, I just don't want to end up like super tired at the end of the day. But I've been doing a lot better with like having my energy back because I'm really a night owl. But baby boy gets up at the crack of dawn. So we get up at the crack of dawn. But this is going well so far, so I can't complain. Um, but yeah, today is day 4. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how I feel because I'm not gonna lie, 100 Days of Code got very daunting and hard to manage when I tried it the first time, and I was also live streaming as a part of my 100 Days of Code. But the difference then was that I always imagined back then, like, oh my God, if I didn't have like, 8 hours of sweet work in, before I came home to do my own stuff, then maybe I would have had a lot more energy to get through some of the stuff I wanted to do. So I'm happy about that because I am busy, but it's not the same when this is my core time to actually work on code and program and stuff like that. So not to say other things I do does not require my brain power, but I don't come into this feeling super drained mentally like I was feeling before when I was, working full time as a Swede. So that's definitely something to consider. And then, of course, because I want to be extra and live stream every single day. So, yeah. But today I pretty much left off just kind of reading through some of the materials for the first chapter in the Fast AI book that corresponds to the course that I'm taking right now. So I figured I can work on that tonight. And I also, what I want to say, hmm. Oh, I got the Jupyter notebooks. Well, this isn't it. I think I closed the window. But I got the notebooks running yesterday locally. So that was something I wanted to do. Not sure how much I saved myself in trouble because a lot of this stuff I'm not going to be able to train it on my laptop. But at least for now, I do have the self-managed version of going through the book material. So I have a fork of the repository, which is Fastbook. It's called the repo is called Fastbook on GitHub. I think it's Fast AI Fastbook. Um, can I do like? Dang it! I was gonna show the origin, but the origin, this is a fork, so the origin is mine. I don't know. Can I see upstream stuff from the Get CLI? I never tried that before. Maybe. Um. Okay. So yeah, I have the book running here. It shows these errors in VS Code. I kind of feel like there's something I didn't that I don't have set up for VS Code, to be quite honest, because I would expect some type of notebook UI integration with VS Code in particular, and not having to run the notebook server separate. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Um, Maybe that's something I'll dig into. But you know, all that being said, I did set up a virtual environment for this the fastbook repository yesterday, just so that I could try to be responsible in how I'm maintaining my Python installs, because that can become a headache. And so basically, I set up a virtual environment for this repository and installed all of the dependencies or requirements. I guess they kind of call them more so call them requirements than dependencies, but I set up the requirements which were already provided in the project. And so the way I did that was, let's see, this was me kind of figuring out what I needed to do. Okay, so here's where I set the Python environment. Because I already have VM, like I've already been using it. So I think I installed it when I installed some Django tools. So I didn't really go through that part, but and then on my computer, instead of Python, I have to say Python 3, or instead of pip, I have to say pip 3. So that's one thing I might go in and kind of fix, because I shouldn't have, I don't think I should have to do that. I think the way that it is installed, I'm supposed to be able to just use the defaults, but I don't know. It's like a Windows versus Mac thing that I haven't dug too deep into to find out if uh if most people just run their Python like this right now. So this works, and this is what a lot of the documentation is going to give to. I just think I should probably know why I have to call it like this. And I'm pretty sure there was supposed to be some type of aliasing done at some point, but yeah, so that's on my back burner. But it's not like a breaking thing right now, so I don't want to focus too hard on that. So, anyways, I set up a virtual environment. It's called .venv. So that's this folder up here. And then if you never used the virtual environment before, it has like some different scripts and stuff that get installed automatically within whatever the environment folder is that you create. And I called it .venv because I wanted to take the recommendation from the documentation of creating the virtual environment. It was more of a, what's the word I'm looking for, like a mm, it's not really a standard. I'll say more, it was more of a common practice. But they were like, yeah, a lot of times then people would just name their virtual environment directory as .venv. So it helps hide the directory whenever you are just seeing a basic list of what is in your project. So it kind of keeps it out of the way. Um, and then they don't recommend naming it .env because that's a very common file name for other projects where you would name your environment variables there. And if you never did that before, like .env is a project that a lot of different languages have support for. So usually when you see .env in a project, it would actually be environment variables for a specific uh, library, but or being picked up by a library. So yeah, I did that. So I ran my command to create my environment, and then I activated the environment. It should still be active right now because I didn't deactivate it last night. Then let's see. Oh, this is very JavaScript of me. So I wanted to run everything that is in the requirements file. I kind of felt like in JavaScript, you can say npm install and then everything in package.json gets installed, right? So that was that was my mindset. But apparently no, I just have to add -r and call the requirements file. So I saw that from the help command, and I do want to do, like, I don't always look in the the CLI documentation for information, but I feel like this is something I want to be more comfortable with because I'm like, I know how to read the docs here, but sometimes it's just like it's too much to search through. I'm not gonna lie, but I still feel like it's a good skill to have and be way more proficient in than having to Google stuff all the time or even like, hey, Chat GPT, you know. Um, so, anyways, I went for that route. So dash R was the flag I needed to add, um, or dash dash requirement, and then the file, and it shows up here when you use the command. This was the option with dash R in it, so I just used that one. Yay, I learned something new. um, and then, yeah, all these requirements already got installed. So afterward, I did install Jupyter in this virtual environment. In addition to all those requirements from the project. So the last few things I had to do, I think the last thing I really just had to do was run the Jupyter notebook um, command, so that started up the server. And I didn't kill my server last night before I stopped streaming, but I definitely killed the server before I closed the computer. So you know, I don't know, sometimes I forget to do that. If you have a server running on your computer, you should like shut it down if you're not using it. um so I'm going to restart the notebook server, and that should open up a page for me automatically. Here it is. Hold on. I have multiple windows, of course, so it goes to the opposite window that I want it to go to. Okay. So now this is the Fastbook repository. These are all the notebooks that are in the repository. And I think even now would be a time where if I want to try that Rise extension, which was the extension that allowed you to show the panels in notebooks as slides, as a slideshow. So I might install that later. I'm not gonna do it now because I want to do that on a day where I have more like flex time, I guess I could say. Exit. Why are you so slow? What's wrong? So I'm gonna try to reload that in a minute. But yeah, so that's now I am here, which I actually was trying to open up because I do believe in this notebook there is some examples to work through as well. So I figured that would be a good thing to do now, and then after working through the examples that are in this notebook, then go back to build something on Kaggle. Let's see. Now, oh, here is this the page for? No, I want to look at the page for lesson 1. Okay, so anywho, I did get Kaggle set up, so I'm not gonna use Paperspace, at least not now, because I already have Kaggle set up. I already know about the notebooks. I did the 101. And okay, so it says this is the model, the notebook for the lesson. So that's the one I already have. So I should open that one. It's gonna be in Kaggle though. This is 101. What the heck? Okay, I am going to get used to this. Oh, man. I thought last time I could see. Oh yeah, here it is. I was gonna say I could see my recent. Oh wait, excuse me. Not streamer. I renamed. I renamed mine not streamer because I think that's what the project name is gonna be that I work on. But this is the. Oh, I just hit edit, I guess. Okay, so let that do what it's gonna do. And then let me see anything else, and then I'm gonna write my log for today, and then I'll do like at least two palms. Okay, this is the history part. So read through the history, and then your projects and your mindset, the software. I have this on my radar, that the paper that they wrote for fastai, your first model. I don't know. I'm kind of like briefly skimming this, but I need to read all of this. Running your notebook. I want to see what. I like to know what to expect, right? Oh, okay. Here is a training example. Yeah, the question is gonna be if these run. Probably eventually, I will definitely not be able to run these on my computer, but then I will probably switch to collabs. Unless, well, I guess I can use Kaggle. I like collabs too. I don't know. Can Kaggle save to GitHub? Because that's what I like about. Mm, that's what I like about GitHub. And then in GitHub, I can like organize all of my notebooks the way I want them in the repositories. So that's kind of one thing that I don't see here that I really would want to save as, rename. Because I would think it would already have like a section, like if I say save as, yeah. Well, I guess I'm not even looking at Kaggle. That's weird. Why did I do that? Okay. There we go. Link to GitHub. Um. mm, 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 mm. Okay, so if I do this, it's gonna. Okay, I'll set this up. I'll set this up when it's time for me to save it. Okay. So let me see. That's why I gotta think through stuff before I start. I don't like being all over the place because I know I'll get distracted and go off on tangents. Okay, so and then that's the Jupiter thing. Okay. I can't tell how far down I'm scrolling because my screen is. Oh, there we go. Sheesh, that's only the middle of the page. Okay. Um. Basically, this is my goal for the week, but I should base it off of the fact that The I would say technically the week starts on Tuesday ish. I could do Monday, but because the lesson I finished the lesson on Tuesday, and then these each of the lessons was made to go with like a 7 week um course run. So I kind of want to follow that model. So I know I need to get through this entire chapter. They have quizzes. Oh, okay. They have like that's a lot of questions. Okay, I support this. All right. Each chapter also has a further research section. Answers to these questions aren't on the book's website. You'll need to do your own research. Why is a GPU useful for deep learning? How's a CPU different? Why is it less effective? Try to think of 3 areas where feedback loops might impact the use of machine learning. Okay, I like this. Okay, so yep, this is a good amount. I just gotta, I guess this week I can judge how long it takes to get through this. Um, where is the, I want to go back here. So that's all in the notebook for this section. And then this is resources, free notebook version. Doo, doo, doo. Oh, and then they have solutions. Okay, that's helpful. Hmm. So they already talked about doing the top down approach to the lessons, which I highly support. This is their teaching philosophy. I want to see this. You know, I like this. I'm going to read this once I finish the chapter. I'll probably go through this. Oh, the rise thing was right here. So that's something I want to implement. And what is this? I remember they not recommended but mentioned this, but I don't remember. Oh, they were using notebooks to create a blog. Fancy. Okay, yet another thing for me to look into. But it's in the resources. So once I've done everything I need to do for the chapter, I'll go through the resources. That way I'll stay on track. Okay, so I guess at this point, I'm gonna go back to my book. Oh, let me write my log first. Okay. Mm, I only have one window open. Uh, th- why am I struggling? Where open recent? Where's that one? My computer is chugging. That's probably because I got that freaking server running. I don't know what VS Code just did. Let me see. Oh, okay. I was about to say it better had killed the server since it just took over that window. Okay. Honestly, ever since I've been trying to work with VS Code, it seems like that's what's been like resource intensive on my computer. I always want to blame Google Chrome, but at least they are trying to optimize. Let's see. Did I didn't paste everything I needed, I think. Shift. That's not what I was trying to do. Copy, paste. So today is day 4. It always takes me literally a whole half hour to get my life together, but that's okay. Um, all right, I feel pretty good about the log. So let me save that. It's crazy that I have like multiple screens and they can move, but I still have stuff sitting in front of them. Um, okay. Did I copy an extra line? Mm, I don't think so. It kind of looks like it in this chunk. Get command day 4 long. The other thing, oh, I did not mean to do that. Oh well. The other thing I noticed is I never updated this main page right here for this round. Um so this is literally none of the stuff I'm working on right now. Um rules, additional rules, content. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah, so I gotta put some different stuff here. Um, I don't really want to lose these goals though. I need to work on this stuff in general. Just like these are like my higher level lifestyle goals right now. But yeah, this is I have to update that. So maybe I'll do that when I get done. Or on my break, one of my breaks. Okay. So let's. This is not running right. Go back to the other window. I was trying to see that and it disappeared. Maybe it's on another window. I don't know where that went. So weird to me. Yeah, so I might as well not even have Visual Studio open at all. Because all it's doing is really just weighing my computer down because I am looking at these in the browser anyway. So, um, It's so tiny. um, what in the actual F? I made that folder. Source. .venv pan activate. There we go. Okay. Prime example why you need to make sure your virtual environment is activated. Anywho, okay, I don't need this one. That's the same as this one, and yeah. Okay, I'm gonna hit my palm now. Oh, wait, excuse me. Did I push my stuff to GitHub? Hold on, let's just make sure so I can work in peace. I won't keep thinking about it. I still can't figure out how I ended up with no contribution on Tuesday. It's all good though. Mm, 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 7 minutes ago. All right. Now I can work in peace. Let's close bar in ChatGPT. And what is this? Tailwind. I'm leaving that open. Close this. I can come back to that later. Okay. Oh, it's on a break. Restart cycle. Waiting for the kernel to start. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna fix that later. I want to read for now. I wish I could draw because I want this like example, but I can't draw. I'm just gonna make little squigglies. Back up, welcome in. I can't even tell what I'm looking at. Going pretty good. How are you? I'm like, I got 4 more minutes on my palm. It's a cat raising its paw. Oh, okay. Got it, got it. In all fairness, I forgot who it was. It was like another streamer though that like was trying to figure out if my what was on my head in this like emote. And for some reason her head went to Little Nicky. I think it's called Little Nicky with Adam Sandler. um I'm like, it's my buns, you know, like my hair, like I put my hair in space buns. She thought it was like a bra on my head. So, and she like immediately thought of Little Nicky. Yeah. Oh, that's in. This is nice. I feel like even though I don't know much about biology, this is I can obviously see exactly how the mathematical model looks. It mirrors the cell. I'm also not sure in all the time that I've been learning about machine learning if I ever seen this comparison like this. It definitely makes it brings more sense to this, even though I think this description is cool, but it's also like you gotta read it a couple times to be like, oh, okay. But this is basically just a summary of that same statement. You know nothing about ML? I know like surface level, somewhat practical like knowledge, but overall, yeah, I mean, I have so much to learn. So, but if you know nothing about ML, the best way I would describe it is, especially the type of machine learning that I'm looking at right now, which is like deep learning. It's essentially it's just a system of inputs and outputs, right? Basically, and what will happen is the main architecture that they use right now is a neural network. So it's like you go through a phase of different what do they call them, like different layers, and you know you feed in a bunch of data and then you take it through some different layers to try to find and train your models based on whatever output you're looking for. So you have multiple layers of what they call neural networks, and each layer it will take, like they kind of feed into each other. So you have a layer that feeds into, you know, one, two, three, however many layers. So each one takes input from the previous layer, and then you train the algorithm to minimize the amount of error. So you kind of, you know what kind of input you're given, and then you know what kind of output you want, and then you basically train the models until your output is as close to accurate as it can possibly get. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's just like AI is not magic. AI is, at this point, a lot of AI, especially in this realm of what I'm talking about, it's just a lot of, it's like finding patterns in data. Essentially, you feed in enough data, you can find a pattern to anything. Hence, uh, you know, our newfound world where chatbots actually make sense. But also, those chatbots are trained on like the entirety of the web, pretty much. So, yeah, if they've seen every single example there is to see, then they should be able to reproduce pretty well. That's kind of the world we live in right now. So, okay, this is my break. So, I literally had an idea of what I was supposed to do on my break. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. Okay, so yesterday I talked about the Google I/O updates, and yesterday I just talked about the main keynote because I only got a chance to watch the main keynote yesterday, and then by the time the developer keynote was starting, it was like hardcore nap time for me. And baby boy was taking his nap, so I had to jump in when I could. But today I did watch the developer keynote before I started my stream. Actually, I literally was like finishing watching the developer keynote and taking notes on it, because I said I wanted to finish that and maybe talk about it today. So I figured this is a perfect break time moment, and then I'm gonna do my second palm for the night after this. But there was a lot of updates for here. Let's start here. There was a lot of updates for the notebook, and can I like? I don't. I want to do this. Oh no 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 no. Okay, and somebody asked me too yesterday, what is this? This is Notion, y'all. So, sorry if you are upset. I don't know how my Notion got into light mode, but it's in light mode. We can all live with it. So yeah, as far as the Google I/O, I watched the developer keynote today, and I took a lot of notes on it. Now, you know, AI and machine learning really did take center stage at I/O this year. So just like I talked about a lot of the like baseline information that they gave yesterday about the different models. Today, they went more into depth. Yesterday was more like a consumer facing type of announcements on for the most part. Today was obviously the developer keynote. So how do all of these models and tools that Google has or is working on, how do they play into what our lives look like as developers outside of Google? Probably inside of Google as well, but definitely outside of Google, right? So um, at least from my personal perspective, the big thing right now is like, well, if I am trying to do good work or something monumental in AI, but I don't work for a company that has, as many resources and as much research ability as Google or Microsoft or whatever. Like, how do I take advantage of these advancements? So, um, I would say the theme for the developer keynote was this was the pillar that I talked about yesterday, where they talked about empowering you to innovate, right? So, yesterday, their main message that they gave was um, they want to focus on making AI helpful for everyone by improving knowledge and learning, boosting creativity and productivity, enabling others to innovate, and building and deploying AI responsibly. So that's where the enable others to innovate really came out today, um, as well as boosting creativity and productivity. And so those were the main kind of like highlights. So, as I said yesterday, Palm 2 is the foundational model for pretty much any of the current Google tech. So, a lot of the models and things that you have access to, they're all based off Palm 2. However, Gemini is the new model that they're working on now. So, um, once Gemini is ready to, be used at the masses, then a lot of the current tech that is based off Palm 2, those are going to move over to the Gemini model. So that's interesting to me to see and understand more about how a switch like that happens, right? How do you change your foundational AI model and redeploy everything? I'll be interested to see how that goes, and wrap my head more around that as I go along as well. But yeah, so they talked about making generative AI accessible to everybody who wants to make new experiences and new products, right? And they wanted to focus on being productive and being responsible. So if you didn't see IO, they basically had this card game. It was called IO Flip. And you literally have like, here, I'll show it real quick because I might as well. Flip flip.withgoogle.com. Hurry up. So basically, this was an app that they built, trying to show off some of the developer features that they have access to. Um, Palm and Bomb. What bomb you talking about? Asking for a hello, welcome. This is taking a long time to load. Okay, so I just want to show y'all what this looks like. So basically, they have this card game. They have basic characters like Dashy, Sparky, Android, and Dino. So you would get characters based off of those Google characters, or you'll get cards based off those Google characters and specific special powers that you choose. So they take data from the user and feed that into prompts on their back end, and then they create a deck of cards for you to use. You get to choose 3 cards and then you battle somebody. So, for example, I can say my class is going to be, I want a queen. I'm going to queen class, and the special power they would have is, Okay, now I'm torn between glitter bombing. I'm about to pick quantum leaping. So it's a lot of little, powers that they chose. Not all of them are like traditional powers, but that's okay. So I have the queen class, and quantum leaping is the special power, I guess. So it's gonna generate. It should generate some cards for me. There we go. And then again, like all the cards are based off of those four main characters that I said: the android, Dino, Sparky, and this one more. And then the queen is based off the class I chose, and then the powers, right? So Sparky the queen leaps through space and time, always ready for a good time. Android the queen leaps through time and space, always ready for a good time. That kind of sucks. Those are the same. Wait, they all have the same. Oh, here's one. Dash the queen leaps through time and space, leaving a trail of snow and laughter. So they have the different cards, the different names, the different images, and then they have different levels. And I think these are different elements to them, right? Um I'm just oh, that's a 91. I'm just gonna pick whatever is high. That seems like legit, right? And try to mix it up. I'm just gonna do this real quick because I just want to show. But the whole basis of this demo was that a lot of all these cards were generated using prompts, and all the images were generated with some type of image generation that they had. The image generation was called Dream Boost. So they're able to fine tune image models, and they said like transport them anywhere basically. So that's all the backgrounds that you can see. So with Dream Boost, and then the way that they're prompting the model to generate those descriptions, they have like over 7 million cards. So I don't even know how that looks on the back end, but um so I guess I just go out with a card and we will see. I haven't actually had. Oh, what the heck? How you get 100? I should have went looked through all my cards. Um, and that was like a fire card against. I don't know. Is that air? Let's go for another fire card then. Is wind gonna beat fire? No. Well, I guess I should know that because my last card lost to fire. And then we don't have a choice. It's the only one I can play. It's water though, so I should be good, right? How does that work? Okay, whatever. So, anyway, that was just a nice little demo that they used in order to talk about, like, just kind of show people how, again, like, I think with a lot of developers, people are not really even looking into how they can get started, or it's overwhelming to try to get started. So they just wanted to show some easier examples of how you can start to bring those ideas into projects that you already have, or maybe realize some projects you might have wanted to work on now is a little bit more realistic. So yeah, so like I said, they used keywords to those keywords that we chose at the beginning. They use those to prompt the models, and then they use Dream Boost to generate all of the actual images from the cards. And then they talked about MakerSuite, which is like a browser based it's a browser based environment where you can prompt the prompt models, and kind of play around with the prompts as well. I feel like, oh dang, I wanted to show at least what it looks like, but they just have the wait list. Here, let's do this. What if I'm not on the wait list page? Okay. Yeah, so I can't show that, but this is basically an environment where you can prompt a model in the browser um and figure out what you want, including being able to specify the type of output that you want. So you it works similar to playgrounds and OpenAI. You can prompt the model and then give it an example of how you want your output, and then you can even specify like output it as JSON and then use like a schema um, on the output as well. So that's something cool to look into. The Palm API is also was also featured. So there's different integrations with the Palm API, but of course, like I said, the all of the models are based off of Palm now. So if you want to use any of those, uh, basically the LLM APIs for the most part, a lot of that stuff is available. Oh, and this is the what this was the page for MakerSuite, g.co/palm. Let's see. So this is the landing page that they have. So if you want to see more about MakerSuite or the Palm API, then that's where you can go. So this is the actual UI for MakerSuite. So you can actually test out your prompts, like I said, and you can see here, like you can change the output type that you want. Um, so yeah, it's pretty nice. So a lot of their highlights was focused on the tools, or I should say the technologies, and then the tools that helps you interact with them a lot easier. Let's see. They also have Firebase extensions, which is going to be really, really nice. Like that makes me literally want to go build a project right now with Firebase on my back end, because you can easily integrate with the Palm APIs, and you can extend from Google, but other third party services as well. And then, like I mentioned yesterday, but this had to come up in the developer keynote today as well. The Bard, or I should say Bard, is based off of Palm 2 at this point. So there was increase in reasoning skills, math, and logic. So that makes it a lot better at programming now. So over 20 languages are supported, as far as programming languages. So it can do things like generate code, of course, find bugs, add annotations, and then there's other features that they didn't mention. So, and then I talked about it yesterday, but Bard is now, they removed the wait list for Bard. So you can literally just go, I closed the tab, I think, but Bard, bard.google.com, and, get some time in with the experimental version here. And there was other things that was introduced about Bard yesterday, so I kind of already covered those, but I had a long list here. So there's these different export features. Export to Replit is also coming, and Google services will have tools built in for Bard, and then extensions for third party services as well. And then more image input and output is going to be integrated with Bard. So Google Lens is a feature that's going to work with Bard. And then Bard is proficient in English, Korean, and Japanese. So that's another thing to consider. There's other languages that they're going to open it up to. But those are the main languages right now. So, and then, like I said, eventually everything moves to Gemini when the Gemini model is ready. So that was a lot of, let's see, that was a lot of the basic developer keynote. In the mobile developer keynote, they went into like some features for Android Studio. The main one was Android Studio Bot. So basically a similar service that you've seen from other IDEs, where you have the chatbot that can help you in real time. We got to go back on the music because I don't know about whatever that was I was about to play. But yeah, see here. Okay. So Android Studio Bot was like a was like the main one there. And then more with helping with debugging and things as well. So the Android Studio Bot is early in development, so that's something you can test out as a part of Hedgehog, the Hedgehog version of Android Studio, if you are a mobile developer. And let's see. They talked about building for a multi device world. So, as far as mobile, it was basically like how different libraries and tools that they have makes it easy to create apps that look good across all different devices and have the right type of experiences depending on the device. So a watch app versus a phone app versus a foldable phone, or a flippable, like a phone that has a screen on the inside and the outside, and tablets and things like that. So just trying to make it a lot nicer to have good experiences on the large screen devices as well. And yeah, so there was some more stuff with mobile. I mean, I'm not really a big mobile person, even though I took a lot of notes for this. So they did talk about Kotlin is officially supported now, and that 95% of the top 1,000 Android apps actually use Kotlin at this point. And so there's a lot of work being done there. And then just some improvements to Flutter, including increasing graphics performance. And then the web was a good section as well. So with the web, they talked about basically, the theme was a powerful web made easier. So um different ways that web and native development can work together, so you don't have to prioritize one or the other. You can take the same work that you're doing for mobile apps or the same work that you're doing for a desktop app and convert that over to something that works well in mobile. So I've never gotten into WebAssembly, but or WASM, WASM, but they did, bring this up at the top of the section talking about web, which is basically the ability to be able to deploy your native apps to web. And they were basically comparing WebAssembly to, some of the other standards, like using compiling your code to JavaScript, and the speed boost that you get, the optimizations that you get for using WebAssembly. Um, and let's see. Okay, as far as AI and ML for the web, they talked about the new web GPU API, which basically they're saying like, okay, they want to make AI, they want to make the web AI ready, and one of the ways to do that is to give your web applications access to device GPUs, right? Because a lot of devices actually have their own, at least some form of a GPU built in, and that would be best for using those deployed models on the web, right? So they were talking about web GPU being an option for this, which is a new API that you have access to. And I think I'm going to be looking into that just to see a little bit more about how that can play into the fact that, I mean, I my foundation is like full stack web, so I never want to fall out of sync with that. And then even comparing TensorFlow JS to um, web GPU versus just standard JavaScript, they said that TensorFlow JS is 100 times faster on web GPU than standard JavaScript. So a lot of optimizations and work being done there. Web frameworks. Oh, this is the under the make it easier category. So like I said, a powerful web made easier. So a lot of this is more about the powerful side, and then on the made easier side, just more integrations like Firebase hosting that supports Next.js, Angular, Nuxt, and SvelteKit. Um, Improvements to Flutter, Chrome Dev Tools, improvements to the Chrome Dev Tools, which is obviously like for a lot of web developers, especially front end developers, that is like a primary debugging and programming tool that's a part of our stack. So just making sure that those tools are more fully featured and make it easier to debug. And then performance tuning was another thing. So they have something called Core Web Vitals, which you can see in Chrome DevTools, and just some of the different metrics and options that helps you, tune up your website a lot easier and make it a lot more straightforward, how to benchmark and make those improvements. And then the last thing they talked about in the web was like how www kind of stands for the Wild Wild West. And that basically was a call out to the compatibility issues within different browsers, and how a lot of different features are not actually fully implemented or implemented consistently across different browsers. And that just causes so much chaos and confusion for, the average developer, especially for like a web developer. So they have the WebDX community group with W3C. And if you don't know W3C, that is the governing body for, a lot of our web specs. So not to be confused with W3 schools, but W3C, the World Wide Web Consortium, I think. So one big project that is coming out of the community group, the WDX community group, is called Baseline. And Baseline is basically like an annual release that they're going to do that allows you to see what are the features that are fully supported across all the browsers. And in addition to having that release, MDN, or the Mozilla Developer Network, is a big partner. And so with Mozilla Developer Network, they're basically going to host on their website in their documentation labels for the different features, and letting you know if the feature is a baseline feature or not. I put this number here because they said as they plan to roll this out annually, every year it'll be a new version, right? So baseline 20, baseline 21, baseline 22. So web.dev/baseline is where they are. .dev/baseline is a good starting point if you want to learn more about how that is going to work out. So here's an example of what it looks like when the baseline tags are fully implemented into MDN. So I think in the past I've seen a little bit of this when it comes to they try to show the, like, say different features that you're looking for in the documentation. They try to show like what versions of which browsers, but it's usually like this big grid, and you kind of got to compare all the little columns and rows together. But they just feel like it should be easier for developers on the web to be able to kind of have a shared, like you said, baseline, which is the name of the project. So I thought that was really, really cool. And that was something that they definitely highlighted. So, kudos to them on that one. And then the cloud was actually last, but, and cloud had a few things. So I'll do cloud and then I'm going to do AI last. So cloud did talk a lot about AI, but it was some of those enterprise features that I was talking about yesterday. So they really were trying to harp on the idea of like having enterprise ready applications of AI and machine learning, but making it something that's accessible to all skill levels of developers. So again, you can be at different parts of your journey as a developer or as a software engineer. You don't have to be an expert in AI or machine learning in order to build those quote unquote enterprise ready applications. So Duet AI is one of the things I had talked about yesterday, but Duet AI is going to come to Google Cloud. So that's going to help you use Google trained models, but also If you custom train any models or fine tune any models, you'll have access to those as well. One of the features they showed was like translation for internationalization for a website. So if you have they showed a web, like a shopping site, and translating it over to another language entirely, and how pretty much straightforward that is using some of the Google trained models. And then another cool feature they showed, like ask Duet to explain code. So that was like this one here. Let's go see this one because I did want to see this one. Um Ask Duet to explain code was basically if you are, working on a specific project. A lot of times you like come to some type of code and you're like, what does this even mean? And then you might even try to find the person who actually originally wrote it. And, that can just be a lot. So, one of the things that they showed was like being able to literally ask the Duet AI to explain some code to you. So you can get into the Trusted Tester program if you go to goo.gle/AI/assisted/dev. And then Vertex AI was the more so like the bringing those enterprise Google AI applications to your own internal data. So they show generative AI, something called Imagine, where they generated product images, which was kind of interesting. They fine tuned a model of a purse or like a tote bag just by taking pictures that they had took from their phone and using those to fine tune the image model, and then like kind of generate a very specific version of a product that they wanted to see. And then of course obvious stuff like using text for creating captions, and then like I said, they have the translation model, so translating your captions into other languages. And then with the embeddings API, that is more opportunities to bring some other chat features and other language model features into your application. And then the cool thing, I think this was a cool thing. This is like the last thing I really wrote about for Google Cloud, is that they had a way to, um, Google Workspaces has a language called AppSheet, or, yeah, you can use AppSheet basically to build custom apps for workspaces. But now they have a Duet AI prompting option that will allow you to basically you tell Duet AI what you want to create, and then you answer some questions about it, and it'll generate that app for you. So that was like an easy way to generate a workspace app. So like especially for a lot of internal workflows and like cross team tools and things like that, internal team tools, that would be a good option for people. So Google Cloud definitely spoke more to the enterprise side of things. And last but not least, AI was a big section, obviously. So the developer keynote was broken into the same categories pretty much as the general IO information. So AI has had its own section, and they kind of talked more about how AI is not magic, which, if you don't have experience with it, it does seem like a lot of magic, but so does just general software development to like a person who doesn't really work in that space. But like Lawrence Moroney basically said, like AI requires smart engineering work. You can't just willy-nilly like piece some stuff together when you want to solve a big problem. But if you do have the specific tools in mind, and kind of like how to work with them, then we're going into a new wave where this is an opportunity for you to do some things that you probably didn't realize you even had the capacity to in the past. So one big project that they talked about was called Project Game Face. And Project Game Face is basically literally using your using facial expressions to uh, to move the mouse on your screen. And it was developed originally to help a man who didn't have like a lot of use of his limbs, and he likes to play games, and he lost a lot of his or not a lot but all of his assistive equipment in a fire. So they created this Project Game Face as a solution to that problem, and they open sourced this yesterday. So Project Game Face is something I'm like, oh, that looks like exactly what I need to be experimenting with. So I know they put let's see if we can find the GitHub. Yeah, here it is. Look, literally says 2 days ago. Um, so if you think that that would be interesting, you can look at this project, and I want to try some things out with this. So yeah, um, I was always excited whenever they showed something new that they were open sourcing. Then they were talking about just like how they're trying to make the process easier to orchestrate multiple ML models together. So, for example, with Project Game Face, you have a model that detects faces, then you have a model that crops the image to just the face, then you have a model that detects the different landmarks on the face, right? So eyebrows and nose and the size of your mouth and things like that. And then you have a model that can turn the landmarks on the face into like mouse telemetry, which is probably more of a coding side of it. But a lot of these others are just kind of like, orchestrating different models together to come up with a specific solution. And so that was just one example. But kind of like moving forward, Media Pipe is the big project where a lot of this abilities is being built in. So they have standard use cases in Media Pipe that you will be able to do. These are all the ones that they listed: image segmentation, image embedding, text embedding, pose landmark detection, face stylizer, face landmarker, face detector, interactive segmenter, and language identifier. So those were the 9 use cases that they have built into MediaPipe. And again, Project Game Face was developed using MediaPipe. So they used different use cases that made sense for their particular project, and created a solution out of that. So you have standard use cases, but you also have the ability to customize your solutions by retraining any of the existing models. So that was pretty cool. Lastly, I would say Keras CV and Keras NLP are new libraries that were announced as well. And so if you ever looked at TensorFlow, Keras is like a high level TensorFlow models, and Keras CV is for computer vision. Keras NLP is for natural language processing. And then some of the features, in addition to those having a lot of the model algorithms implemented for you across those different spaces, they also have things like avoiding overfitting, augmenting data, and include transformer models in those new iterations of Keras. So g.co/ai/build has resources, and then ai.google/machine learning has a demo where you can build and well, you can build a generative model and then deploy it to a mobile device. So that's pretty much a good demo to kind of show you some end-to-end workflows and being able to take advantage of a lot of the tools that they created. So that is most of the stuff that I took notes on when it came to the developer keynote. The developer keynote is like an hour and a half, but I do recommend it if you want to get deeper into any of the topics that they were talking about. Like I said, I have a lot of notes here on mobile development, but I really don't do a lot of mobile development. So um, I was more so really interested in what they had to say about AI and machine learning. But I think all of this is helpful to know because overall, at the end of the day, it's a part of the industry changes as well. And a lot of what comes out of some of these events really shapes how you see things going, as far as the different stacks that we're using, the different tools that might be coming up, and the different tools that might be kind of falling off. So, that was the end of the keynote. I have not gone through all of the Google I/O. I have not gone through all of the I/O sessions at all. There's so many of them. So I am like probably tomorrow, like over the weekend and stuff, I'll just be watching through some of these. I might make myself a big playlist and just have them playing because I usually watch YouTube on TV anyway. And just string together these all into a playlist so I can just kind of watch through them. Some I'm more interested in than others, but they did have 4 tracks this year. So mobile, web, AI, and cloud. I'm most interested in following the AI and the cloud tracks, and I think they interweave a lot. I've been debating on getting a cloud cert this year. But I'm kind of torn between getting an AWS cert or getting a GCP cert. Mostly because I'm more interested in the work that Google is doing from that perspective. But like outside of Google, I feel like AWS is the standard right now. In the past, when I worked, I have had experience working with Azure, but mostly I have worked with AWS. I think it's like more popular with a lot of companies. So, but I'm looking to see Google Cloud step up in the space. And I think they kind of showed their focus on the enterprise. Not to say that AWS is not like an enterprise platform, it definitely is, but I don't know, I kind of get a sense that you can kind of see, like I would see more startups on AWS. I would see more like larger infrastructures or companies that can partner with Google Cloud on their platform. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Hopefully, I don't know if anybody cared about all that, but I thought that news was interesting. So, I'm just trying to keep up with everything. I'm not trying to know everything because that's impossible, but I'm trying to keep up with as many things as possible, with just our industry in general, and always happy to digest that info. I did make this as a Notion document so that I can possibly like share it. And I'm working on a workspace, y'all. So I really be thinking about all the different ways to just kind of like digest a lot of this information and make it easier to, get updates and stuff. So I'm working on that. And where is it? This is it under here? No. I have an AI space that I start. Oh, here it is. Meta Dev World space. So I'm starting to work on some stuff. So like here's the AI ML hub that I'm working on right now. And I'm going to share this when it's ready. But like I'm just kind of brainstorming out and structuring out the stuff I want to be here. So communities and resources, different courses that you can take, This is the one tool. I think I showed this. I feel like I showed this a couple days ago, but this is a website that has, it keeps up with all of the author keeps up with all of the transformer models, all the LLM and transformer models, and the research that goes along with them, the data sets that are being used to train them, and it's huge. Back in 2017, you just had a paper, and then there's GPT, there's BERT, there's GPT-2, and this is literally 2019. This is 2019. That's Megatron, T5, and then the wires get so thick in at the end of 2021, and now it's just like it's a lot. So because NLP is the thing I'm primarily interested in, this is very, very useful to me. These are all like the papers and things that corresponds to the different developments in all the life cycles of all these different models. So um, it gives me an easy way to kind of follow along from the beginning and build up my knowledge, and gives me like an order to read a lot of papers in, as I'm trying to just kind of get a foundation of what is like currently the standard. So yeah, so something like that I found to be helpful. So I'm like, okay, I included that. I'm gonna include more things about challenges. This is AI courses, but I think that's the same as what's getting built into this gallery right here. And then I'm gonna put up the different AI events throughout the year, like conferences and things that come up. So for example, Data and AI Summit by Databricks is going to happen in June. Between the 26th and the 29th is their in person, and between the 28th and 29th is the remote sessions. So yeah, so I'm working on this. As a work in progress, so I want to release this soon. And it'll always be a work in progress, as just trying to get together the different sections I think would be helpful. And there will be other resources like that for like meta dev world overall, but that's kind of where I am right now. So hopefully I'll be able to share more about that. But if anything seems like it would be useful to add, I'm always open for suggestions too, because my whole goal is that anything that I'm demystifying for myself, I would like to help other people do the same thing. So as many of these resources as I come across, like I'll try to do summaries and things and talk about them, if that's helpful to other people. So that was a long break, but that's good. I pretty much am just gonna do my last palm now. This is why I don't be having, if I have too many windows open. Wait, let me go back real quick. Open, reopen, because I want to fork this so I won't forget about it. And I'm actually surprised that not a lot of people like have even looked at this for real yet. But it literally just got announced. So yeah. Bard. Maker Suite. All right, so I'm gonna finish up as much as I can here. No. Stop timer. Start palm. Must be sleepy. I just realized I put bomb instead of bar. Yeah, I was so confused. You talk about some bomb two and bomb. I'm like, I don't think that's a model, but okay, if you say so. And baby boy is up again. That boy did not go to sleep till like 3 o'clock in the morning yesterday. I'm like, oh my god. That's why I don't have kids. Because he hears me, and lately, I don't know, his sleeping is interesting anyway. Like he wakes up and then he see I'm doing something, so then he got to be all in my business. He like, don't talk about me. He's such a goofball. Yeah, he has FOMO. He has FOMO. Oh man, he needs an emote too. The Mark One Perceptron. Perceptrons. Yeah, so see, they showed that a single layer was unable to learn some simple but critical mathematical functions. But then they also showed that using multiple layers addressed those limitations. It says, unfortunately, only the first of these insights was widely recognized. So, as a result, the global academic community gave up or nearly gave up on neural networks for 20 years. Um, a lot of the reason that there's so much advancement in AI recently, like last 10 years, is mostly compute power. Compute power finally caught up. Um, and something that literally was like impossible to do with the type of computing resources that we had pretty much went to being possible, and then also even being able to be done like in a short period of time. um, so it went from like literally could never do this in the entirety of the universe existing, to can do this in a matter of hours, even maybe days or shorter. So I think that's interesting because, like this says, basically most of the industry just recognized the idea that a single layer, a single layer was limited, but they already knew even back then all you got to do is have multiple layers, and then that actually fixes the problem. So that's what you see now. When you train a neural network, like, you have multiple layers. You don't just have one layer, you always have multiple layers. I'm not gonna say always, but for the most part you typically have multiple layers. And that's how you get these models that are like tuned in order to be able to solve specific problems. The layers are what refines the output and kind of minimizes the errors that are produced. So they have a book called Perceptrons. I'm bringing my stickers in to write my notes next time, because I have like a happy planner system, and I have my disc bound notebook. But I think, like, even with my notes, it would be nice, like, for example, I want to read, like, if it's something I want to do as a follow-up, I think I could put a sticker on my page, like books to read, papers to look up, that kind of stuff. um Parallel distributed processing. Chapter 1 lays out a similar hope that to that shown by Rosenblatt. People are I hear you. I see you. Freaking goofball, man. People are smarter than today's computers because the brain employs a basic computational architecture that is more suited to deal with a central aspect of the natural information processing tasks that people are so good at. That was a whole mouthful. We will introduce a computational framework for modeling cognitive processes that seems closer than other frameworks to the style of computation as it might be done by the brain. So uh, the premise to parallel distributed processing is that traditional computer programs work differently to brains, and that might be why computers have been so bad at doing things that brains find easy. Authors claim that the PDP approach was closer than other frameworks to how the brain works, and therefore it might be able to handle these kind of tasks. He said, "Mommy, you coding without me?" Yeah, he's so nosy, bro. He's so nosy. He need to go to sleep. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. But it's really, he's like on a what do they call it? Like a sleep regression, because normally he would just turn over and go back to sleep, but now it's like, wait, but I could stand up, I could jump around, and he'll like try to practice his little walking for a while. Then he'll finally get tired enough and fall back to sleep. It's still not as bad as when you have to feed every like 3 hours, every 3 to 4 hours. Okay, so parallel distributed processing requires a set of processing units, a state of activation functions, and oh, nobody told you to do that. Escape, shift, enter. Wait, what the heck? Okay. A set of processing units, a state of activation, an output function for each unit, a pattern of connectivity among units, a propagation rule for propagating patterns of activities through the network, an activation rule for combining the inputs, impinging on a unit with the current state of that unit to produce an output for the unit. Okay, so combine the input with the actual layer, the previous layer input with the actual layer to produce the output. Okay. A learning rule whereby patterns of connectivity are modified by experience and an environment within which the system must operate. Modern neural networks handle each of these requirements. In the 80s, most models were built with a second layer of neurons, thus avoiding the problem that had been identified. So having two layers allowed you to pretty much do any mathematical function, but those models or those networks were too big and too slow. So they pretty much stopped at two, and it was like, wait, well, they had one layer, and it was like, wait, that's not enough. But we know we're supposed to add more, but we just don't. And then they eventually added two layers, and it was like, okay, that's cool, but that's not enough. But we know we should add more layers, but we just don't. And now it's like, oh, let's add all the layers. I think that's my summary. Says although researchers showed 30 years ago that to get practical good performance, you need to use even more layers of neurons. It's only in the last decade, like I said, that this principle has been more widely appreciated and applied. Neural networks are now finally living up to their potential thanks to the use of more layers coupled with the capacity to do so. To improvements in computer hardware, increases in data availability, and algorithmic tweaks that allow neural networks to be trained faster and more easily. We now have what Rosenblatt promised, a machine capable of perceiving, recognizing, and identifying its surroundings without any human training or control. Okay, so I am going to write these points though. For the PDP is I can't remember the acronym. That's why I write stuff down. Parallel distributed processing. Yeah, because my thing is I'm about to get done streaming anyway, and I'm not going to. I'm going to get him a bottle so he'll probably go back to sleep after he eats, but it don't make sense for me to try to put him back to sleep and then I'm about to get done in like 15 minutes. So, let me see. Is there anything else I wanted to note before? Okay, so I got Rosenblatt gave the artificial neuron the ability to learn. Says even more importantly, it's so crazy how the lag be on YouTube. Like, you just watch in real time and it gets so far behind, and then if you refresh you'll be caught up. But it's crazy because it's like I just saw that the same window, the same YouTube tab I've been watching in this whole time in the studio. It was all the way back on when I was showing y'all how the IO flip game worked. That was like 30 minutes ago. I don't know. But then it's like when I refresh it, it's up to date. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out this whole YouTube streaming thing and how that works, but I might turn some of the latency off of it. Okay, so I have that Rosenblatt gave the artificial neuron the ability to learn. And then let's see, he worked on the Mark 1 perceptron. And then the book is called The Design of Intelligent Automation. Oh no, Automaton. So in phase one, you have the perceptron that could recognize simple shapes. And then Marvin Minsky and Seymour Paperts wrote a book called Perceptrons. Okay, so wait, who? Marvin Minsky. This is called. It's just called Perceptrons. So let's see. The book is called. Let's see. When is the Perceptrons book written? MIT Press. Um, 1969. Here, let's see the book preview. That's what I need to make in the AI ML hub. I need to make like a book list too. Perceptrons reissued in 1988. Copywritten in 1969. So in 1969, they already knew that it was limitations when you use one layer, but if you have multiple layers, that removes the limitations. But it still took them until damn near the 90s. Basically, the 90s is when they finally would have started looking at multiple layer networks, because they say it took 2 decades after perceptrons for the industry to, or the community to actually embrace, making a second layer. And then even after they embraced making a second layer, it still took another wait, it take 2 decades after the perceptrons publishing. And it basically still took I'll say another decade until like it became more standard, because we're looking at like the last 10 years or so that it's been more accepted, and people are actually doing like multiple layers in these like neural networks. Perhaps the most pivotal work was, okay, so this is the one I wanted to have notes on too. Parallel distributed processing. That was 1986. Perceptrons was 1969. The design of an intelligent automaton. Oh, where's my other? A logical. Where is it? A logical calculus of ideas. That's 1943. Okay. That's my palm. I want to read a little bit more, and then I'm going to wrap up. Perhaps okay, yeah. So the PDP has to have a set of processing units. Does it count as hydration if it's G Fuel? It's only half G Fuel and half like a fruit punch pack. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, that's nice. So the instructor that we saw in the first lesson, he doesn't have like a traditional tech background, while Sylvain has written 10 math textbooks. All right, so um I'm going to keep I still have a little bit more to read, so I'll probably end up reading this before I want to leave it right here though. No, actually I'm gonna leave it right here. So no. But yeah, let me kill my server here. So I can just control C, and then I have to hurry up and say yes. Otherwise, if I don't hurry up and say yes, after 5 seconds it'll just ignore that I was trying to kill the server. So I'm not gonna restart it right now, but I'm gonna leave this up. And yeah, the main thing, let's see, I was saying that it would be good to have a book list somewhere, I think. So let's add that. Um, database. So I want to add something where I can keep track of different books. Actually, I'm not going to combine it, but I want to think about the fact that I do already have my own reading list that I keep track of. I could use a shared database. So let's make this. Should I make it a table? I kind of like the gallery right now because it's like interesting to look at, but it's probably not the most efficient way to show books. So I'm going to select a new data source, make a new database called, just call it books. Or, so let's track some of the books that I saw in here. And I'm going to track the papers too. The books were. That one started the paper. Perceptron is the first book, I think. No. The Design of an Intelligent Automaton is the book. Man, see. And then Perceptrons. I don't want to copy it with the italics on it. I feel like it might copy. Let's see. Copy. Man V. Okay. Was there another one? Oh yeah, parallel distributed processing. Okay. The paper, a logical calculus of the ideas immanent in nervous activity. That is. I can put this one here too, and then what I can do is I can say change it to and then for the tags, this will be a book. Create. This will be a book. This will be a book. And then this will be a paper. There we go. Then anything else I need to add, I can add. But at least I have a starting point for making sure I go back and capture that information. Alrighty, so I'm going to get ready to go to bed like a normal person. And baby boy is definitely like, okay, come on, let's go. But I'll be working more tomorrow. I mean, I'm in it for the 100 days and then some. So let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it now, and then I'll see y'all tomorrow. Also, if you missed it earlier, around like 12:30, we recorded an episode for Hacking with the Homies podcast, and if you ever miss those, I always live stream all of the podcasts. Like every Thursday, I live stream for one of our podcasts. There's 4 different shows, so one for each week of the month. So those recordings are always there, and then they go live to their respective YouTube channels. And I'll have more information that kind of puts all of the shows and the breakdowns and everything in one place, so it's easy to catch up with them. But yeah, if you are already following me on Twitch, then literally every Thursday you'll see me go live for that. So right now there's 2 streams on Thursdays for the foreseeable future. And otherwise, yeah, I might try to move my sessions up a little bit earlier in the day maybe go back to getting up early in the morning, but I kind of got to get some sleep first before I start trying to do that. So we shall see. But yeah, I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one, and happy coding for anybody that is finished with day 4 like I am now. Good night.